Hi, I'm Amber from New Orleans. Please like and subscribe. I belong to a home that was filled with happiness and love, and my dad worked very hard to give us the best life. Once when I was 4, Dad spent an entire weekend building me a treehouse in our backyard.
This is your special place. You can always come up here and look at the beautiful sky.
Thank you, Daddy.
And when your sister grows a little taller, promise me that you'll share this treehouse with her and always be happy together.
I promise.
My sister Rose was 2 years younger, and I loved her to bits. I would dance for her, and she would laugh like crazy and clap her little hands. When I turned 6, Mom bought us walkie-talkies, and we had so much fun hiding from our parents.
The coast is all clear here. Over. I see Mom's red hair. Over. Okay, I'm climbing down. Over.
As I climbed down from the treehouse, I saw my aunt and my cousin enter our yard. I ran to greet them, and so did Rose.
Amber and Rose, you've grown so big.
Our cousin Shirley was the same age as me and stood very quietly without even a smile on her face. Just then, I noticed that they had 2 big suitcases with them.
Are you going on holiday, Aunt?
Yes, we're here for the holiday.
Just then, Dad came out and helped Aunt with her bags. Aunt and Dad were twins, and he cared about her deeply. I was happy to have them around until Mom took me aside and spoke to me. Amber, you will move into Rose's room and share her bed.
But Rose's bed is so small, Mom.
I know, hon. It's just until your aunt finds a job and moves out.
How long will that be?
Just a few months. But months turned into years, and I was 10 and still squeezing into Rose's bed. My aunt didn't find a job, and Dad had to let her stay since they only had each other. And slowly, Aunt and Shirley started to become a nuisance. Once in 7th grade, Mom had planned a party for me and Rose for being top achievers at school, when Aunt suddenly said she felt really sick. Maybe you should have the party on another day. I'm so unwell. Shirley must have caught it too. Look, she feels so warm. It's possible what we have is contagious. But I've already bought all the food and invited the guests. I can't cancel everything just a day before the party.
Maybe you 2 could just stay in your room, Aunt.
Oh, so you want me and my daughter to stay in the rooms like we are outcasts? Did you hear what she said, brother? We aren't good enough for their party. They always make us feel like we're living on their charity.
What? She didn't mean it like that. Aunt started coughing loudly and Dad took her to her room. When he returned, he asked us if we could cancel the party.
But Dad, Rose and I already invited all our friends.
My mom is sick, and I think you should listen to your dad.
It does seem insensitive to have a party when she's unwell. We can have it another time, please.
It was so hard to say no to Dad, so we canceled it. And just then, I caught sight of Shirley grinning as she walked away to her room. Ugh, she and Aunt were such drama queens. And the worst part was that Shirley was in the same class as me. In 8th grade, I got selected to be the class president. And just as I was about to give my first presentation on all the changes I wanted to make, I stared at the projector in horror. Instead of my slideshow, it was a video of me singing and doing a stupid dance in front of my mirror at home.
That's your president trying to be Beyonce. Gosh, how stupid does she look?
Shirley, you're a wicked witch, just like your mother. She got up and pushed me against the chalkboard, and I took the duster and buffed her face white. Seconds later, everyone around us was laughing as we broke out into a full-scale catfight. But the teacher was not impressed by my behavior.
Amber, I'm taking away your position of class president until you learn to lead by example. Hitting someone's face with a duster is not leadership material.
But she pushed me.
And you called her mother a witch.
Later that afternoon, while I was doing my homework, Aunt came and sat next to me with her tea, and she poured it all over my books. Hey, what are you doing?
This will teach you to watch what you say about me. I'm a witch, huh?
I'm telling Dad about this.
Go ahead, I'll just say it was an accident.
He will never believe you over me, his beloved sister. And she was right. Dad didn't believe me.
Amber, I'm sick of you disrespecting your aunt. When your mother gets back from the store, we're having a family meeting.
But Mom had been gone for hours, and she wasn't even answering any calls. We were beginning to feel worried. But just then, a car drove up to the house, and Mom thanked a strange man as he dropped her off and drove away.
What happened?
My car's engine suddenly heated up and my phone was dead.
Luckily, my boss was driving by, so he offered me a ride. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get your car towed and fixed.
I just couldn't help noticing the way that man looked at you.
What way? What are you trying to say?
Nothing. Just saying.
My aunt was on a mission to stir up trouble between my parents. And later that evening, while Mom was in the bathroom, I found Aunt digging in Mom's bag. What are you doing?
Why don't you go up to your room and read a book, dear? Not until you tell me what you're up to. I'm looking for a painkiller for the headache you're giving me. Ah, there it is.
She took it and left, and I told Mom right away. But she checked her bag and said everything was in place. But just a few days later, it was Dad's birthday, and Mom bought him some new shoes.
Oh, I was expecting a Rolex watch. Really? Well, honey, that's quite an expensive gift. But you used our credit card to buy it 2 days ago. I got a message on my phone. What? No, I didn't.
Mom and Dad got into an argument on his birthday, and then Aunt came along to make things worse.
Oh, I think I know who your wife bought the watch for. It was for that same man who dropped you off last time. You know, her boss.
And how would you know that?
I'm my brother's sister, and I see everything that goes on around here. I won't let anyone betray him.
I've had enough of this nonsense. Who do you believe, me or her?
Dad believed Aunt, and that day, Mom packed her bags and took me and Rose with her. Mom rented out a small apartment, but things were not easy with Mom's small salary, and Dad only paid for our school fees. And soon after, things got even worse when Rose started to feel sick. When Mom took her to the doctor, we got the scariest news ever. Rose had a problem with her heart and she needed a donor. Oh, Mom, why is this happening? I don't want anything to happen to Rose. And nothing will. We have to stay positive, honey. Rose had to stay at the hospital for a while, and one day Dad came to visit with Aunt and Shirley. But when the adults weren't in the room, Shirley turned to Rose and said, "Now because of you, your dad might lose our house." What are you saying? Don't listen to her, Rose. He's paying for your treatment, stupid. He can't afford the mortgage payments on the house. Thanks to you, we'll be homeless soon. It was never your house to begin with. Get out of Rose's room, now! Later that day, I started to do some research on heart donors, and I was surprised to find applications on a funding program called the Heart Foundation. I quickly applied, telling my story, and sent it with fingers crossed. When I told Rose about it the next day, it made her really happy. Even though our family is no longer the same happy family, I'm so glad that I have you as my sister and best friend. I hugged her and then turned on the music on her phone and started dancing for her like old times, and she laughed so much. Back at school, I struggled to keep my grades up because of everything that was going on. And one day, Shirley scored higher than me in math and couldn't stop rubbing it in my face. Now that I'm the smarty pants of the family, I'm gonna tell my uncle to throw me a party. Don't worry, you're invited. As the waitress. Suddenly, I felt so furious that I just screamed and charged her. But somehow, I managed to stop myself at the last second. So I was shocked when Shirley suddenly fell to the floor, like she'd fainted. Shirley? Oh my God, what if you killed her? What? I didn't even touch her. No, I saw you. Her friend ran off to call the principal. Shirley was rushed to the hospital where she was just fine soon after, but I was suspended for 2 weeks. I was really angry, but my suspension meant I got to spend a little more time with Rose at the hospital. I miss our treehouse. Me too. Let's go there. You know we can't do that. We'll get in so much trouble. Please, Amber, I'm so tired of being in the hospital. My sister made her puppy dog eyes at me, so I put her on the wheelchair and told the nurses that I was taking her out for some fresh air. We sneaked right out of the hospital and got onto a bus that took us to Dad's house. No one seemed to be at home, so we headed straight to our treehouse. Are you sure you can even climb up? Yeah, of course I can. Okay, go really slow, and I'm right behind you. Rose climbed up the ladder, but as soon as she was inside the treehouse, she let out a loud scream. I started climbing up frantically, but just then I saw Shirley looking down at me, and next to her was a boy from school. Shirley, what are you doing here? Bunking school and making out with my boyfriend? You and your sister are trespassing. Shut up, this is our treehouse. Oh yeah? We'll see about that. She kicked the ladder and I lost my balance, but luckily I caught a tree branch just in time.
Oh my God, Amber.
I turned to see Dad looking up at me, and next to him was Mom. Dad quickly put the ladder back and helped me climb down. What are you guys doing here?
The hospital told us you were missing. We figured you might be here.
I'm sorry, Mom. It's not her fault. I made her bring me here because this is my happy place. Rose cried and we had a family hug until it was interrupted by Aunt.
What's going on here?
Shirley kicked the ladder down while Amber was on it.
What nonsense. My Shirley would never do that.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Shirley came down from the treehouse with the boy, and Aunt didn't look so happy.
Shirley?
I'm sorry. Shirley looked down sadly, but I didn't buy her act one bit.
I am so disappointed in you, Shirley. You really could have hurt Amber.
And if you're really sorry, tell everyone the truth about what happened in school.
You pushed me. That's what happened.
Yes, she did.
And brother, why are you holding that woman's hand? Have you forgotten that other man she's with?
Dad immediately let go of Mom's hand, and she looked so sad. As Mom drove Rose back to the hospital, I had a brilliant idea. Mom, can I borrow your credit card?
Honey, I'm already owing a lot on my credit card.
No, I'm not buying anything. I just want to investigate something. I then asked her to drop me at the mall and went to the only jewelry store that sold Rolex watches. Excuse me, can you check my mom's credit card? I think she bought a Rolex watch here sometime back. The store assistant checked the card and the time of the purchase showed up. I requested to see the CCTV footage of that date and time, and it was exactly what I had expected. My aunt was the one using my mom's credit card. I made a copy of the video on my flash drive and left. I was on my way to Dad's office when I got a phone call that made me yell out with excitement. Rose's application for the donor heart was approved. My sister was going to get a new heart and she would be completely okay. When I reached Dad's office, I showed him the video from the jewelry shop.
Oh my God. I don't know what to say. She's my only sister. Why would she do this to me?
You really broke our hearts when you believed your sister over us, Dad. Aunt broke our happy family, and you let her. The next day, while Mom and I were in the hospital with Rose, Dad suddenly walked in with flowers.
I am so sorry. And I know my apology is not going to be enough right now, but I love you all very much, and I will do anything to have you back home.
Mom didn't forgive him immediately, but once she heard that he'd kicked out Aunt and Shirley for good, she was willing to give Dad a second chance. And slowly, our family became whole again. I learned a big lesson here. Always look for the